Hello, clever people, and welcome to my review for Black Panther. So Black Panther stars Chadwick Boseman as the title character, and it also has a big cast that stars Michael B. Jordan, Lupita Nyong'o, Daniel Kaluuya, Martin Freeman, Andy Serkis. It's a really big cast, and it follows the story of Black Panther, who, after his father dies due to a bombing at the UN, the United Nations, he has to take over the role of being king of Wakanda, which is basically the most technologically developed country in the entire world. They have medicine that is that of science fiction. It can automatically heal people in like 12 hours, I believe. It's really, really quick. And it follows the story of a man who is played by Michael B. Jordan, and I'm not really going to disclose I don't want to say too much about the story because the trailers didn't really say anything, but basically he has issues with the Wakandan people that that I won't disclose, but it leads him to want to be the king of Wakanda. And in the meantime, Chadwick Boseman needs to take in all the factors and elements of what it means to be a king, and also having to deal with the idea of what it means to be a warrior. So Black Panther is a Marvel movie. It is actually very much in the press right now because it is basically the first film with a black superhero that has been extremely significant. You've had Blade and other films, but this is the first one to open with, 200 million worldwide or something crazy like that. And because of that, a lot of people have gotten into fights over its cultural significance, I guess. The thing is, this film is very culturally significant for the black community, but at the same time, some people have gone overboard because there are people who are calling people who gave the movie a negative review racist, and then there are some people that are saying that it's for black people, and that if a white person were to go and see it, that they're being racist. There's a lot of controversy going on. I'm not going to disclose it all because that would take forever, but just look it up if you're curious. So this film has undergone a lot of controversy already, and if I'm going to be completely honest, I really don't see what the big deal was about. I wasn't excited for Black Panther until the reviews were really shining, and then I saw the film and I didn't really understand why everybody was freaking out about it. Black Panther is a perfectly competent, perfectly fine film. I just personally found myself really bored while watching it, and if somebody can say that they enjoy the film and that they like it for being entertaining, then I understand that. The thing is, so many people are hailing this as one of the better films that Marvel has ever made, or maybe even the best film Marvel has ever made, and so many people are calling it a masterpiece and absolutely terrific, but honestly, I think that the film is really overrated. To me, the biggest issue is that the film has a really weak script. It has a script that doesn't really display Black Panther's pain or any agony that he goes through all that well. There's some physical pain that he goes through, but you don't really get into any of the emotions of him having to be king and what that means. You never really get the feeling or understand what it really means to be king or what that means for the Wakanda nation. And speaking of Wakanda, you never really get a good idea of how that country functions. You get the idea that they have really advanced medical technology and that they're really technologically advanced, but they still have a mix of African culture, which was cool enough to see, but they don't really go into the city of Wakanda. I think that the biggest issue with this film is that just none of it really has personality. There's nothing special about this movie. It feels like a by-the-numbers Marvel movie, which is kind of upsetting because it's directed by Ryan Coogler, who did the film Creed and who did the film Fruitvale Station. I haven't seen the later, but I have seen the former Creed, which is really great. I love that film just for how it's able to combine normal entertainment that the average audience member can go into the theater not with any huge expectations and enjoy a film, and how it blended that with sort of a gritty, sad vibe. It's hard to describe, but basically I thought Creed was an ultra entertaining movie that was so much better than it had any right to be, and then I was expecting something like that out of Black Panther, but it feels like Marvel may have forced Ryan Coogler into doing too many things that didn't really fit with his style. One of the best parts about his style, or the best parts about Creed, is the way that they shot action sequences, but the difference is that in Creed, the action sequences are really small and contained. It's really just boxing matches between two people, so the handheld, gritty style that he uses works there. The thing is, if you were in a giant battlefield, if you were to use the handheld, gritty style, it would be absolutely confusing and nobody would know what was going on. So I'm glad that they didn't do that, but at the same time, this film was really lacking style that it definitely should have had. You can definitely say that Black Panther resulted in a lot of really, really good performances. I think that the shining aspect of this film, and this usually isn't the shining aspect of most Marvel movies, was the performances. Chadwick Boseman, though he's not really given much to work with, does a really great job at being Black Panther and at least attempting to show his struggles. Michael B. Jordan was great as the villain. This is probably one of the first good Marvel villains that we've gotten. I mean, I like Loki, I like Ultron, but really, Marvel does struggle in terms of villains, but this one I thought was fine. His motivation and what he wanted to do were a little bit weird, and it kind of felt a little bit forceful, but I did like his character, and I did like what he stood for, and then also, or no, I didn't like what he stood for. I liked what he was trying to represent in the film, but what he was standing for did seem a little bit over the top to me, and also, I thought Lupita Nyong'o did a good job. I think overall this just has a really strong, good ensemble cast. I just think that the film struggles in studio limitations and also in a really lacking script. I really wanted to love Black Panther. I went in extremely excited, but I came out having no particular feeling in me, which is not what I wanted coming out. I wanted an ultra entertaining film that would have explored these characters really well, that would have lended for some really entertaining action, but in the end, it kind of just felt like I looked at colors for about 2 hours and 15 minutes, and then I was done, and unfortunately, that's all that Black Panther is really good for. I will give the film a 5 out of 10. Alright, that concludes my review for Black Panther. What are your thoughts on this film? Or what do you think of the cultural impact that it has? Comment in the comment section below and let me know. I'm Robert Burke, and this has been The Clever Critics. Goodbye.